All right, let's talk about one of the biggest questions out there. How do we get to 100% clean power? You know, the kind that never, ever fails. Well, the answer isn't some single miracle technology. It's actually something much cooler. It's about conducting an orchestra of the amazing solutions we already have.
I mean, it's a totally fair question, right? We've all seen solar panels and wind turbines popping up everywhere. So, what's the holdup? Why does a completely clean grid still feel just out of reach? Well, it all boils down to one fundamental challenge.
The dream is absolutely beautiful, a world powered by the elements themselves. But this idyllic vision, this idea of just building standalone projects, has a major Achilles heel. They just aren't constant. And there's a word for that: intermittency.
And that really is the heart of the problem. You know it, I know it. The sun doesn't always shine, the wind doesn't always blow. That inconsistency means that our traditional renewable projects, when they're all on their own, really struggle to provide that steady, reliable power our modern world absolutely depends on. So here's the big shift in thinking. The problem has never been with the instruments themselves. Solar, wind, hydro, they're all amazing. The real issue is that for too long, they've been playing solo. The solution? We need to get them to play together, like a perfectly conducted symphony. And that leads us directly to the solution: the hybrid system. This is where different technologies stop acting like solo acts and start being teammates. They form a single unit that's so much more powerful than just the sum of its parts.
Okay, so let's get specific. A hybrid renewable system isn't just a random collection of parts. The key phrase here is integrated ecosystem, and that one word from the source material is everything: orchestrated. It means every piece is working in perfect harmony to deliver the ultimate prize: continuous, reliable power. So if we're talking about an orchestra, who's actually in the band? Let's meet the key players that make up these incredibly smart energy systems.
So you've got your main power generators: solar, wind, and maybe hydro. Then you've got the essential backup section: battery storage. It's there to save up all that extra power for a cloudy or a windless day. But the real magic, the true genius, is the conductor, the brain of the whole operation, the energy management system, or EMS. This thing is constantly looking at weather forecasts, energy prices, and what we need right now, deciding which instrument to use and when to create a flawless performance.
So we know what it's made of, but what truly makes this system, well, smart? Let's take a look at what it can actually do to support the entire grid. And this is what I find so fascinating. These hybrid plants aren't just passively pumping out power. No, they are active, intelligent members of the grid. They don't just add electricity. They add stability, they add resilience, they add strength to the whole network. This table breaks down how they do it. First up, load following. That basically means the system is like a perfect thermostat, always producing the exact amount of power we need, no more, no less, so no waste. Then there's islanding. This is incredible. If the main grid goes down, this system can just disconnect and run on its own, like a little energy island, keeping the lights on for hospitals or other critical places. And finally, grid sync means it can send power back and forth to help its neighbors, making the entire grid more reliable for all of us. Okay, look, any new technology can be the craziest thing in the world. But for it to really take off, the numbers have to add up. So let's look at the financial side of things. Because this is where the hybrid model goes from being a really good idea to an absolute no-brainer. First off, reliability. We're talking about a performance guarantee of over 95% uptime. For any factory or community, that kind of guarantee isn't just a nice to have, it's a massive deal. It means you can count on the power being there, period. So what about the upfront cost to build one of these things? Well, because everything is designed as one cohesive project, you get a huge advantage. You can slash the capital expenditure by 25 to 35% compared to building separate, uncoordinated projects. It's just a smarter, cheaper way to build from day one. And that upfront smartness leads to returns that really make investors pay attention. We're talking a typical annual return on investment of 15 to 25%. Let's be really clear about this. This isn't just about being green. It's a financial engine that can outperform a lot of traditional investments. The business model here is also super strong because it's not a one-trick pony. On top of just selling the electricity, these systems bring in money from valuable carbon credits. And remember those grid services we talked about? They can sell those back to the main grid operator. It's a diversified model built to last. So we've seen how it works, and we know it makes financial sense.
But where does this technology really make the biggest difference? Who stands to benefit the most from this new way of thinking about power? The uses are just so incredibly diverse. On one hand, you have a remote community. For them, a hybrid system means freedom. It's energy independence from crazy expensive imported fuels. On the other hand, you've got a modern factory. For them, it means guaranteed non-stop power for their operations, while also slashing their energy bills and hitting their sustainability target.
So to sum it up, the sweet spots for this technology are the places that need reliability the most: remote and island communities, big industrial and manufacturing plants, and even just supporting the edges of our existing grids to make them stronger.
And really, that brings us to this powerful final thought. The solution to our clean energy puzzle isn't about waiting for one single perfect source of power. It's about intelligent orchestration. It's about making our best technologies work together in perfect harmony. The future isn't just renewable, it's hybrid. And so the only question left is, how quickly can we start building the orchestra?